Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Celine Delia, and today on IRC Today, Nicole Henderson and William Dresser looked at how students at the University of Alabama think about what causes addiction and how these beliefs affect the way they view people with substance problems. Students give a bunch of different reasons for addictions like biology, using substance to cope, family background, social pressure, and just wanting pleasure. But overall, their answers fit into two main viewpoints: medical view, which is addiction causing things like genetics or stress, basically biological or psychological reasons, or moral view. Addiction happens because of personal choices, social influences, or pleasure seeking. The researchers found that students who see addiction as a moral or social issue usually have more negative attitudes toward people with addictions. On the other hand, those who see it as a more medical problem tend to be less judgmental about it. The big takeaway is that how we talk about addiction matters. If we treat it like a disease instead of a personal failure, we can reduce stigma and help people get better support and treatment. For our second summary, Is Addiction Really a Disease by IU Health explains that addiction is a chronic brain disorder, not just a lack of self control. Addiction happens when someone uses a substance so often that they can't control it anymore. It changes how the brain thinks, makes decisions, controls behavior, and learns, which makes it hard to stop. The factors like genetics, environment, and drug use at a young age can increase at the risk of addiction. Since addiction is seen as a chronic disease, it can be treated and managed, but not fully cured. Recovery depends on the person choosing to get help, but the treatment is always possible.
Hello, I'm Rose, and I'm here today with,
Ruben.
and we're going to be asking him a few questions about addiction. How would you personally define addiction?
Addiction, I think it could be something that's extremely harmful. It's a habit that might be something that you feel is out of your control. So some people continue to do something over and over and over. Oftentimes we see with like drugs, alcohol, all types of different forms of addiction, or even sweet drinks.
Okay. Do you think genetics or mental health issues can make someone more likely to develop an addiction? Why or why not?
I think so. I think genetics definitely play a role at some point. Some people they're more prone, or not even just genetics, but their family, their habits, their eating habits, what they're doing at home, how they're growing up. So I think that definitely plays a role.
Okay. And how do you think society views people with addiction problems?
I think that once people lose control of their addiction, society kind of disregards people that have addiction. They kind of forget about them, and I think people that have addiction themselves give up on themselves because they feel like they're out of control.
How do you think schools or social media should talk about addiction?
I think that schools should offer more resources to aid people that have already fallen into addiction and felt like they can't get out. I think we do a lot to prevent, but we don't do so much to help people that are already there.
And there you have it.
My name is Erica Parker, and I'm going to be interviewing Kirsten Gilbert about drug addiction. I'm just going to answer a few questions. The first question is, how would you personally define addiction?
Personally, I would say that it would be like if they're addicted to it, then they have a hard time stopping themselves, and it's a problem in their life that's stopping them from living their lives as fulfilled as they can.
Yeah, I agree. The second question is, do you think people are responsible for becoming addicts, or are there bigger factors involved?
I think part of it is. Other parts are like other mental issues that could be passed down or health problems that people have to deal with that they try to cover up with addiction.
I agree. And then the last question is, how do you think schools or media talk about addiction?
I think that it should be talked about more. It definitely should be talked about more, but I don't think it should be talked about badly over social media and everything. As people then feel like they can't talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm Jaylene, and I'm here with.
Nate.
Okay, and I'm just gonna ask him a few questions. How would you personally define addicted?
Well, yeah, just like feeling like you have to have something to like get through your day, like either a drug or just something you do day to day.
How do you think schools or media should talk about addiction?
Be open about it and helping people have resources to overcome it.
And last one, do you think people are responsible for becoming addicted or are there bigger factors involved?
I think it's a little mix of both. I mean, there's always a bunch of underlying factors, but there's also stuff that you can control yourself. See it in the hand. Just gotta be honest with yourself.
To wrap up today's news, both articles emphasize that addiction is complex and shaped by how people understand its causes. The first study shows that university students hold two main views: a medical view, which sees addiction as a biological or psychological disorder, and a moral model, which sees it as the result of personal choice or of social factors. These beliefs affect stigma. Students who view addiction as a moral issue show more stigma, while those who see it as a medical condition show less. The second article supports the medical perspective, explaining that addiction is a chronic brain disease that alters how the brain functions, making it hard to control substance use. It highlights factors like genetics, environment, and brain development as contributors. Overall, both sources stress that framing addiction as a medical condition rather than a moral failing is a crucial for reducing stigma and improving treatment outcomes. Thank you.